Everyone, welcome to WeWednesday by As You Are. I'm really excited today. I hope you all know who the guest is. Let me just invite him. I've just sent him an invite, so he should be online in any minute. Hello. Okay, I'm trying to accept. I've accepted like twice so far. Technical issues, sorry. In case if Anwesh is unable to join, let me try one more time. Okay. Doesn't. Okay, I think. Hello. Hi. Good to see you finally.
Yes, finally made it to the chat.
How are
Hey,
you?
how
How's
are
the
you
day?
doing?
Good,
I am
good.
doing superb and having a lovely day. There is some noise here. Is there some still audible at my end? It's gone. Okay.
No, you're very clear. Is there any wind from my end? Because I have like the fan on super high. I mean, it's very hot where I am. So, is that what you're hearing?
Totally, can totally imagine. I think it's not audible now. It was audible when
Okay.
I joined, but it's not audible.
Okay. I mean, I can hear you really fine.
Superb.
Okay. So let's start. Or should we wait for like a couple of minutes maybe?
Yeah, let's have more people join us and let me
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah.
How's everything going at yours? What's up? What's hot?
It's
What's
very
not?
hot where I am. It's very hot where I am. I don't want to shoot up my AC bill. So like 1 hour I'll put on the AC and half a day I'll be like,
Uh,
good, I'll put up with it. Yeah.
where are you located in India? Like northern, southern?
Right now, no, right now I'm in Andhra. I have some personal work. I've been traveling for like 3 weeks now. My last week now is in Andhra. So it's like really hot.
Okay, can imagine. Can imagine. I mean, it's getting hot here as well. I'm somewhere around Delhi, and it's quite hot. It's getting hotter. It was quite pleasant
Hmm.
only 2 3 days ago, but ये गर्मी नहीं सही
Yeah.
जाएगी.
I'll like starting next week I'll be in Delhi, so I'm gonna I don't know if it'll be hotter than here, but I'm not the heat is not something I'm very excited about in Delhi.
Yes, Delhi is going to treat you well, I'm sure.
Hmm. I think let's start.
Yes, let's begin.
Okay, I don't think you particularly need introduction, but I'll just do my part to start with.
I'll take one.
So, Anwesh Sahu, like I think the first time I heard about you was 2016 where you like won the Mr. Gay World competition, and you're like the youngest to win that. Right at 20, you have like, you know, like
Insane.
that was a brilliant thing. And then on the international level, I think you made to the top 12, and the Troy Perry Award for activism. That was something again I heard about. And currently, you're making waves in the fashion industry.
I think I'm quite new to the industry, but I mean,
Okay.
if you say I'm making waves, I'll take it. If someone's coming here to like make believe in it,
Oh, I totally believe in you. Just do your thing. It's fun. So,
thank
to start with, do you like how was your career journey? Like, when did you first realize you were different, and how was it like coming out to yourself, family? How did that go? Like a very typical question to start with.
Yeah, sure, sure. I mean, I obviously grew up being, a very different kid. I did not fit into the heteronormative definition of what a guy, of a boy should be like. So yeah, I mean, I felt because everybody else around me also treated me differently because not only was I gay, but also I was a certain kind of I was a queer kid, and therefore it was very different for folks around me to sort of get where I was coming from, what I was saying, which was totally understandable to some extent as well. And yeah, I think the more I grew up, the more I started understanding myself, and I reached a point where I was like, you know what, I'm trying to understand and trying to get this, and perhaps I am quite different from all the other kids. I am, in fact,
Hmm.
attracted to men, and this attraction is not going to go away. It's going to stay with me forever and ever. And now, what do I do with it? How do I deal with it? Uh, so slowly and steadily, I sort of started picking up the pieces. From a point where where I was a complete like a misfit who just kill himself to a point where I started picking everything up around me and being like, let's try and rebuild my life and see where I can go ahead with it. And the more I initially when I came out via my blog, it's called the Effeminare. I actually received a lot of love from the few allies that I had around me. So my school friends would join hands, and they'd go and comment on my that WordPress blog ka zamana tha 6-7 years ago. So they would go and they would comment on my blog posts, and there were more people from around the world who started reading my posts and started commenting, started following my work. And that's when I realized that okay, maybe I have a voice, and there are people like me who would like to listen to my story and understand where I come from. Thank you so much, Kushwant. Very sweet. uh, Hello, Garv. Very, very good to see my friends joining in as well. Thank you. So yeah, I think I just eventually, as the feminine got bigger, and there were more people reaching out to me, I felt like I wasn't going to go back from here on, and I realized that I could sort of combine my work, along with my um, interests in fashion, interest in art, and interest in talking about my story as a queer kid, because I didn't get to listen to a lot of queer stories around me at that time. Not that there weren't enough. I mean, we just
Yeah.
didn't have as many younger folks coming in and joining the fight, and sort of, and I understand because there is already so much pressure from the
Yeah.
society. You're already a teenager and you're already dealing with so many other. It's totally understandable if you don't want to go out and talk about your issues, what you're going through in your life. Uh, and Instagram is not as much a big deal as it is today. Today it's quite big, and
Hmm.
I've been here for age. I mean, I started being on Instagram when I was in from 2013, 2014. I mean, I've been here for good 7, 8 years now. Back in the day, yeah, it was not. You could see a lot of Indian queer kids coming out and sharing that. But yeah, it was popular as well. But now the culture has changed. Now there are more people who are joining us in this journey, and I really appreciate folks like you reaching out to me and wanting to share this topic with you. That's really really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is something we hear from a lot of other queer influencers. Like, we started when back in the day we used to read stories, but they're not the Indian stories, right? You do hear
Yeah.
stories, but they're not necessarily always Indian, but like one here, one there. But I think now we probably need more stories from smaller towns at the moment. I think cities, we do have, like, we need diverse stories, is what I feel at the moment.
I mean, to be very honest, I think a lot has changed since the Section 377, verdict came out almost 2, 3 years ago. I think 3 years, 4 years ago. So 4 साल हो गया. 2018, when basically everything started changing. I think there were more companies basically who started joining the fight with us, and they were more uh, sort of, in some ways, more interested in sharing our stories from different parts of the country. I mean, today, to be very honest, don't just have queer stories. from Delhi, Bombay, Kolkata, and Bangalore, but we also have stories now coming from smaller towns. I mean, there's
Yeah.
Neil, who I follow on Instagram, who creates these beautiful outfits out of everything that he finds around him, and
Yeah.
that kind of representation is really what is going to change. And I do not in any way believe that metro cities are the only places where changes are happening. Maybe there are smaller towns and smaller cities where things are much more open than they are perhaps in bigger cities. That it might seem
Hmm.
that things are better off. But I mean, I'm just glad that there is a platform like an Instagram, for example, where you have
Yep.
a couple of days ago we saw I think it was an Instagram campaign where they started putting faces of Instagram, creators and influencers on the billboards, and it was so nice to see. I
Oh
think
wow.
Shantanu was featured in the ads, and he wears makeup. He loves doing makeup. His face was plastered, and I was so happy. I was watching ambience, and I saw his picture, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. We have a man, a young kid who likes makeup, and
Hmm.
his picture on that on that platform, and
Wow.
there are so many people who are exposed to his this identity of his, and it's this is his creativity, his art, and it just opens up doors for many more
Absolutely.
like queer people around us. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's definitely those are the things when you feel like maybe there is maybe things we can go ahead with it. There are bigger
Yeah.
companies joining hands with us.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think something like your blog, right, gave a lot of voice. And I think this is sort of what we are seeing also with somewhere now with the corporate backup and validation from the general society. But how was it when you started? I think you answered a bit of it earlier, Effeminare.
I would
So,
say.
so was that like, did you receive any negative stuff, or were you like you had all support and protection from your friends, like you said, or were there any moments where you were like, shit, maybe I shouldn't do this, or
I think there is still a lot of negativity around, even till date. I mean, there is so much
yeah.
hate that if you go, I recently did a campaign with Bumble. You go and you just check all the comments that was shared. And I mean, I've done campaigns with a lot of different brands where you go and you see a series of comments, even on my
Hmm.
TEDx videos, where there is so much hate for femme queer identity, and it just irks me so badly when I see a comment, something in the lines of not all gay men are femme. Arey bhai, the idea that we are trying to be inclusive means that we have to create platforms for all kinds of queer identities. If we are just
Yeah,
creating queer, if we are just supporting only your definition of what queer is, then we're not being inclusive at all. And
exactly.
why is there so much hate against queer femme identities when these are the identities which are actually driven? And the fact that we're able to write that statement today is also because a queer femme kid or a queer femme person years ago fought for queer rights in our country to be able for us to be able to talk about this so openly today. So
Yeah, absolutely.
the importance of trans identities, queer femme identities, non-binary identities who have fought the war so much harder so that we can, talk about this so openly. And yes, I mean, it's a great, it's incredible that we were able to talk about this, of course, with a lot of corporate backing us up.
Yeah.
And I mean, becoming also more, in some ways courageous, brave to, share our stories as well. And yes, coming back to your question, there was a lot of hate back then. Back then, in fact, there was also a lot of hate from the queer community itself, especially around the time when I was in India. Everybody was like, how can someone so ugly win the pageant? So many other, and it's so sad for me to read as a 20-year-old where there are 30-year-old and writing things like we have better faces. But अरे भाई तो तुम क्यों नहीं गए? If you think that you have a better face than mine, then you should have participated, and then we would have seen. Your parents
Absolutely.
went, and but I think, of course, now there's a lot more news from his head folks, and it continues, it never ends, and it's quite
Yeah.
sad. But I think I I have never thought in every that I will stop doing. I will continue to do what I continue to share.
Yeah.
I think my consistency is probably what has made me who I am today. No matter how much I'm going to receive. This is who I am. This is what my identity is. I understand who I am, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. And now I have, folks like you joining me and, sharing our stories, mutual stories together. So, kudos to us.
Absolutely. Yes, more power to you. So, um, the follow-up question to that would be, what is the role of, like, what is the support system that you've found through the journey as an artist? Was it, like you've mentioned about your school friends, but through the journey as an artist, I'm sure again you will have your, set of friends that you walked along with you. But how has been, like, in general, the industry, fashion industry, or the queer community, how supportive or not?
Well, who makes the fashion industry really even? That is such a difficult question to answer. Now I am of course very grateful that I get to, interact with some of the biggest names in the industry of in the fashion industry here in India. That I'm very grateful for. Abu Sir, Abu Jani Sandeep Khosla, Abu Sir from the Abu Jani Sandeep Khosla team. He follows me on Instagram, and he's created like some of the most, the grandest of outfits in films like Devdas. Some of the biggest,
Wow.
everybody in this entire, film industry, and they today follow me, and they reach out to me and they appreciate the work. I, of course, I've not passed with Masao, and she's really sweet. I really heard via, DMs, and I was the next thing I know, I was working with her. I'm of course featured in the Cosmo list. And it's incredible that I'm in these magazines and there are people who want to know about my work and they want to interact with me. I'm very grateful for it. Um, and I mean, what else can I even say? It's very surreal to me that I have all this support. I have a lot of support from the NFT community as well. People come to join.
Hmm.
He's an incredible NFT artist as well. People, collectors buy my work, which is, unimaginable, unthinkable to me. And I'm just going to continue to create what I do, and we'll see. There is so much more that I would want to achieve, and this is just the beginning, I guess.
Absolutely. I think conversations around whenever, like previously when you were talking about, all the bullying and negativity that you've received in terms of, being an effeminate queer person. I think the more we have these kind of conversations and question these people, saying, this is not the only, like, you don't define what I'm supposed to be, right? So,
Yeah.
so in some way, with As You Are, what we are aiming to start is building these conversations in a fairly less toxic, I mean, safer space, if I may say, because
Absolutely.
like you said, I've seen some Instagram comments and I've faced some Instagram, spaces, and they are absolutely ruthless. I mean, I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah, one thing that we are aiming to is to keep the space clean and have these conversations rather than just get absolutely bullied by cishet people. Or
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So, so
Absolutely
yeah, I
agree with
mean,
it.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, Tushar is saying hi. Hi, Tushar. Thanks for joining us. Tushar is an incredible filmmaker, and so glad you made time to join us. Yeah, I think just adding to what you already said, I think it's important that we have platforms like creating safe spaces where we can also have take these conversations forward, where we can have conversations of course in the online spaces, but we also can have these conversations in offline spaces, and
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
that is exactly what is important. That we take this conversation forward and talk about the issue all of us are really facing. Every queer person that I've come across, especially every queer femme person that I've come across, we all go through a lot of the bottom shaming. There's a lot of femme shaming, a lot of course size and color shaming. All of that is very common, unfortunately, in the community. Hi, Dish. Thanks for joining. Thank you. I was just following. Of course, follow as well. I was just going through the post where you also spoke about bottom shaming, and I'm like,
yeah,
we need to keep having these conversations so that
yeah,
maybe in 2 more years we can reach a space where we can take the toxicity completely out of the picture, and it is
yeah,
very much responsibility. ऐसा नहीं है कि think there is always going to be someone who's going to have this negative opinion and we can't do away with it. They have that opinion because we have unfortunately not created an ecosystem where we can have healthier conversations around body image
Absolutely.
issues, around identities, around inclusive identities, more colorful identities,
Absolutely.
and I'm just very grateful that we have today, because I didn't have it when I was we just had Facebook and we had really bad apps where we would go and we would just be completely destroyed. Our self worth is completely destroyed and stuff out of it. But now you have, have a platform like As You Are to go and join in
Yeah.
and, be able to talk about these things.
Yeah, and everybody who's online now, please send in questions for Anwesh.
And
And please go
also,
follow As You Are as well.
yeah. So moving on to the next question, what is your current focus at work right now? What is that? What is it that you're passionate about in fashion?
Well, I think now everybody knows that I create a lot of my work. Hi, thank you so much, Gurhan. Thanks for joining in. So, of course, a lot of people who follow whoever follows my content know that I create a lot of work around cyber fashion. So, my idea is that I use my art in order to create and in some ways also showcase them as desirable, powerful individuals via cyber fashion. And I've always I grew up being this kid who was so scared to accept him for who he is, and then fashion was that outlet, or those fashion magazines I would copious amounts of fashion magazines and articles that I would read through every day. Those were sort of my safe space. So I take those references, a Jean-Paul Gaultier or a Terry Mugler, whose work I would look at and be like, wow, I connect with parallel universe being able to create. I bring in those elements and those references to my work today via digital art, fusing my body and my art together, and in some ways initiating these conversations. And to be honest, I've been quite successful in having these discussions, because now there are not just queer people who follow me, who comment on my pictures, but I also get a lot of hate from other cishet folks who do not follow my content but have come across my content, and that to me that they come across the artworks that I've created. That is exactly, and if they hate, great, let them share their opinion and let them at least be exposed to the idea that there can be a femme identity who can be, beautiful and gorgeous, who can create this kind of, a look. And that's where that idea of, a femme identity foreign becomes, obsolete, and that femme becoming a part of them becomes more and more and more of a reality. And that's exactly the idea that I want to, perpetuate with my work. And yeah, I think I hope that with As You Are as well, I'm able to reach out to more audience, and we can we can take this conversation forward. And I would love to have more queer people joining me on this fight as well, and creating more conversations. And I would like to thank Dinesh again. He has lovely things to say. I think it's so rare to see the kind of art you create in the Indian scene. So much power to you, and over. Thank you so much. Really sweet.
Yeah, I think there was another comment also. Oh, okay. I think we've already read that comment.
Someone has something to say about As You Are as well. They said you're doing a great job.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Please join. So, again, I think one question from my end would be, whom did you really look up to? Who were sort of like your mentor in the somebody who really mentored you, or somebody whom you really look up to in the Indian fashion space?
Honestly, I mean, for me, I have always looked up to designers in general. And fashion is one aspect of design that a lot of people might know in popular media. But for me, I look at designers, and I say, for example, a lot of people know about Sabyasachi, who is often known as a very popular fashion designer. But he's at the end of the day, he's a designer, and he designs stuff for a lot of different media. And that's the kind of world we live in, where design is very it has become very global, and it has become very intersection, like it intersects a lot of different design spaces together. So in India, I mean, I remember coming across the works of Manish Arora, and Rahul Mishra. I would look at the works and be like, wow, like such incredible work. Vibhu Mohapatra. So I think those are people who really sort of inspired my initial days when I was trying to look at references, and I was just, especially I remember Manish Arora having, not Manish Malhotra, not to be confused with Manish Malhotra. Manish Arora is another designer who creates a lot of lovely, really colorful pieces, and he was also the first Indian to only India, I guess, to head Paklava, which is really popular, couture based out of Spain. And I mean, it was really, really incredible to see that there was a queer person who happens to be my super senior from New Delhi, who went on to do so well in the space of fashion, and really brought the truest flavors of India and was so well accepted in Europe. So I think I was thinking, wow, this is the kind of work that I would aspire to be, half as good as these people someday.
It's really nice. So, I mean, I don't know much about fashion, so I wouldn't be able to add much here.
I'll help you. Tell me.
We'll get on a personal call for that.
And just DM me.
I think another question that we had earlier was, how was it coming out to your parents?
Oh my God.
Okay.
That's something I would say. I think my parents, initially when I came to my mother, but I guess that is how it is for a lot of Indian folks. We don't live in a very inclusive, atmosphere. We grew up in a very heteronormative world that I've already mentioned. Where you think that a man should always marry a woman, and vice versa. So yeah, I guess it was when I came out of that, to understand who I am, what what is being attracted, and how do two men have sex? I mean, these are very fundamental questions that they had in their heads. Sometimes I would find the questions a little insensitive as well, I remember. But sometimes I'd be like, you know what? I literally had to sort of switch roles and be like a parent to them and
Right.
understand. I mean, as an 18-year-old, I had to be a parent to them and be like, okay, you know what? I need to calm down. I can't lose my patience.
Right.
Anything. So it was a lot of being patient, active conversations, passive conversations, distancing ourselves from each other as well for a while, because I felt like I didn't want to have any, fight with them. That was any of us anywhere. We just in a relationship that way, and so a couple of years when I was in college, I was like very happy that I was in a hostel away from them, so that they could absorb the idea that I am different, that their son is, in fact attracted to men, and they not want to have a daughter-in-law ever in their lives because they have, and he doesn't identify, with other ethnic. Uh, I think it's just, to anyone who's coming out to their parents who feels a lot of, angst and anxiety, I mean, just really take your time. It's not going to do, there's no quick solution to any of this. I come across a lot of people who be like, yeah, I just never want to come out. How do I do that? I'm like, and then they're also scared, what if someone else out? I'm like, someone, having, being scared of your own identity. Until your parents are not going to kill you, like, take your time, accept yourself first, accept your identity, and think about them. If you can afford to do that, if you can afford to come out, do come out to your parents and speak it out to them before somebody else comes out and tells them about it. They are completely shocked. So, yeah, a lot of healthy conversations, I guess, is the way out.
Yeah, and I think even for parents, it is difficult. Matlab, depends on what age you're coming out to them at. Till then, they had a certain expectation from you. So that's like, it's typically it's a tough journey for them as well. And ek to, like you said, give ourselves time and give them time and be patient.
Yeah.
Be the parent, like you said, if you can, with mind space. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, again,
She loves my eye makeup. Are you wrong about me? Or are you are you sure
sorry,
you're
I
not
have to be you. It has to be you because I don't have any.
I don't know what makeup you're talking about. This is all natural. I don't have any makeup on my face. This is all I woke up like this.
Great fun talking to you. Any last words before we close?
What else? I think, to anyone out there who's struggling with their identity, I always say this that, the person that you look in the mirror is the person that you should always be proud of. And therefore, it is very important to, listen to your conscience, understand the politics of your environment, and, accept your identity. And, with time, when it's the right time for you, just, if you can afford to come out to yourself, and of course, if you may, come out to your friends and family, whoever matters, and in some way, if you can, definitely contribute to the larger community, because there is no one person who can ever, can be the face of the entire community. We all are the face of this community, and whether we want to acknowledge it or not, we're all, unfortunately, marginalized community in our country at this point, and all of this has been able to. We have joined hands with you. We have joined hands with each other and with our allies, and things to continue. This ball needs to keep rolling, and there's a long way for all of us as square individuals to go. So, come out if you can and support each other, support the community. Do not bring anyone down. We all can have different views. At the end of the
Yep.
day, we're all one. So,
Yep.
join hands with the community and take this journey forward, so that more queer people can, have a better life tomorrow, and they don't end up killing themselves like the kind of emotions that I felt years ago. I don't want anybody to feel like that ever.
Yeah, absolutely. That was, much needed points there. It was great talking to you. Thank you,
Thank
everybody
you.
who's joined in. So join as you are, start conversations. There can be a lot of follow-up conversations to these points if you want to share your stories or your experiences, or if you're looking for a fashion mentor, we have
not me. There are better folks that you can reach out to. I can give you leads. Thank you so much for having me and letting me, take this conversation forward. I'm really grateful to be part of as you are. Continue this conversation forward.
Yes, we shall. Shall you take care?
Take care. Have a good day.
Bye.